My name is Melissa. I'm 28 years old, born and raised in a small town in central Ohio. I came from a broken family. My parents divorced when I was just 15. My mom completely fell apart after my dad left her for a younger woman. I still remember seeing her sitting on the kitchen floor, red-eyed, chain-smoking like she was trying to hold on to something that had already slipped away. And then he showed up. David. My mom met David at a church divorce support group. He was the kind of man women in their 50s describe as too good to be true. Tall, calm, soft-spoken, with those eyes that looked right through you like he actually listened. He helped my mom fix the leaky roof, took her to doctor appointments, even remembered my birthday, something my real dad rarely ever did. I used to call him Dad, and I meant it. Years went by. I moved to Columbus for college and stayed there for work. But when the pandemic hit, I lost my job and, like a lot of grown kids, I moved back into my childhood home. At first, everything seemed fine. David was still the same, polite, quiet, always the one cleaning up after dinner. But something started to feel off. It was little things at first. I'd step out of the shower and feel like someone had just been standing outside the door. Or I'd catch him glancing at me in my thin pajama shirt. Nothing obvious, but enough to make my skin crawl. Once, I came out of the bathroom in just a towel and saw him standing by the kitchen window, frozen, as if he'd just turned away. I told myself I was overthinking. Maybe I'd watched too many late-night crime shows. But then, everything changed on a random Tuesday afternoon. David left his laptop on the kitchen table. I needed to print something, so I opened it. No password, of course. He trusted everyone in the house. While browsing, I noticed a strange little folder tucked in the corner of the desktop. System_cache_03. Something in my gut told me to leave it alone. But I didn't. And my world shattered. Inside the folder were dozens of video clips. The file names were just dates and times. I clicked on one randomly. And at first, I didn't even recognize what I was looking at. Then I saw the white shower curtain with little purple flowers. It was my mom's. It was our bathroom. And then there I was, soaking wet, completely naked, stepping out of the shower and drying my hair. The camera was mounted up high, the angle disturbingly professional. I just froze. My heart was racing. My throat dried up. My hands were shaking so badly, I dropped the mouse. I don't even remember how I closed the laptop. I don't know how I walked back upstairs without screaming. That night, I curled up in bed in the dark, unable to breathe properly. I felt disgusted, violated, not just by him, but by this whole house that used to feel like safety. How long had David been recording me? Was he watching live? Had he done this before? Did he share the videos? Sell them? I couldn't tell my mom. She loved him blindly, the man who had saved her life. But I also knew I couldn't go on living like this. I had to do something. But what? And how could I act without destroying everything? What I didn't know then was that what I found was just the tip of a horrifying iceberg. It had been 4 days since I found those videos. 4 days of pretending to breathe normally, of smiling through dinner, while my stomach turned to stone. I'd become a ghost in my own house, tiptoeing, whispering, avoiding eye contact with the man who had once felt like the safest place in the world. David. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that grainy image, my body bare and vulnerable, moving through a space I thought was private. I'd started stuffing a towel under the bathroom door. I stopped undressing inside, would take off my clothes in my bedroom, wrap myself in a robe, and rush in and out like I was in danger. Because I was. But I needed proof. More than just one folder. Something I could take to the police. Or at least to my mother. So one night, while David and my mom were asleep, I crept downstairs with a flashlight and unscrewed the vent in the hallway outside the bathroom. My hands were trembling. I didn't know what I was looking for. Maybe I hoped it was all in my head. But deep down I knew. Tucked inside, behind the grate, was a small black object. No bigger than a matchbox. A micro camera. Wireless. And still blinking. My breath caught. I nearly dropped the flashlight. I'd been right. But I wasn't prepared for what came next. I went back to my room, locked the door, and curled up in bed, holding the camera like it was a ticking bomb. My skin crawled. I could feel his eyes on me even when he wasn't there. I thought of all the times I'd changed clothes, shaved my legs, danced in front of the mirror like an idiot. Every inch of me had been his entertainment. And then came the sound. It was just after 11 p.m. I heard soft footsteps in the hallway, then a creak outside my door. I held my breath. The steps moved past, and toward the bathroom. I waited. 30 seconds. A minute. Nothing. Then I did something reckless. I got up, quietly opened my bedroom door and peeked out. David was standing in the dark, right outside the bathroom. Not moving. Just standing there. Like he was listening. I backed into my room, locked the door again, and sat on the floor, heart racing. Something was happening. Something worse. The next morning, I put on my bravest face, wore jeans and a baggy sweatshirt, kept my head down, said nothing. I could feel him watching me, trying to read if I knew. But I gave him nothing. I had a plan. I texted my friend Carrie. She worked part-time at the sheriff's office. I didn't give her details, just asked if she could help me with the situation. We made plans to meet that Friday, but Friday never came. It was Wednesday night. My mom had gone to her friend Linda's house for book club, said she might stay the night. I pretended to be tired and went upstairs early, locked my bedroom door, put a chair under the knob just in case. Then I took a long, scalding shower, because I needed to feel something again. I stayed under the water too long. My skin was flushed, my chest tight with the anxiety that never seemed to leave. I wrapped myself in my robe and stepped out, breathing in the foggy air. And that's when I heard it, the click. The door. I turned. The bathroom door was cracked open. Just slightly. I froze. David. I called out, voice trembling. No answer. I took a step back, gripping the towel tighter around me. My hands were wet. Slippery. The steam made everything feel slow and surreal. Then the door creaked open fully. David stood there. His face was calm. Too calm. I heard the water running, he said softly, not moving. Just wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm fine, I snapped. Please just get out. But he didn't move. His eyes scanned me, slow and deliberate, like he was memorizing the shape of my body under the robe. My stomach flipped. I backed against the sink. David, I said again, louder. Get out. He stepped inside. I'm just worried about you, he said. You've been acting strange lately. Distant. My heart was thudding so hard I thought I might pass out. I looked at the door 6 feet away, but he was between me and it. He reached out, placed one hand on the edge of my robe, near my collarbone. His fingers brushed the skin of my chest, feather light. I flinched. Don't, I whispered. He smiled, a sick, small smile. You're not a little girl anymore, Melissa. I slapped his hand away. Hard. Get out. I screamed. But he didn't get angry. He didn't yell. He just stepped closer, too close, and said, You think you're in control here? That's when I shoved him. With everything I had. He stumbled back, surprised. I darted past him, barefoot, wet, my heart trying to tear out of my chest. I slammed the bathroom door and held it shut, locking it with shaking fingers. I heard him laughing. Laughing. I slid down to the floor, gasping, dripping, terrified. A few minutes later, the hallway was quiet again. I packed a bag, threw on clothes, called Carrie, told her everything, every single horrible detail. She told me to get out now and come to her apartment. She'd already spoken to a detective she trusted. That night I left home. I haven't been back since. But the story wasn't over. A few days later, Carrie helped me file an official report. We gave them the camera. I gave them screenshots from the laptop folder. They put in a search warrant. What they found made me physically ill. There were not just videos of me, but of others. Friends of the family. My cousin, who'd stayed over during the holidays. Even my mother. Years of footage. Secret folders. Cloud backups. David had been doing this for years. And somehow, no one ever suspected him. Not the church people. Not the neighbors. Not even my mom. When they arrested him, he was calm. Told them it was a misunderstanding. Tried to say I had mental health issues. But they had the footage. The hardware. The timestamps. They had me. My mom didn't believe it at first. She screamed at me. Said I was trying to ruin her marriage. But when she saw the proof, when she saw the video of herself undressed, vulnerable. She went silent. And then she crumbled. It's been 6 months now. David is awaiting trial. I've started therapy. Moved in with Carrie until I can afford my own place again. I still lock the bathroom door. Still jump when I hear a floorboard creak behind me. But I'm healing. Slowly. There are moments when I feel strong again. Moments when I tell myself, you survived. Moments when I speak out loud what happened to me. And realize that the shame is not mine to carry. It never was. And now, I tell my story. Not because I want sympathy, but because I want other women to know. Sometimes, the monsters aren't strangers in alleyways. Sometimes they live in your house. 2 weeks had passed since I left the house. The silence in Carrie's guest room was both a comfort and a curse. For the first time in months, I could sleep without wondering if someone was watching. But the images still haunted me, not just of myself, but of every woman David had violated. Including my mother. Including people who never knew they'd been filmed. I could have let the detectives handle everything. But something in me refused to sit still. I didn't just want justice. I wanted truth. Undeniable, inescapable truth, to come from his own mouth. And I knew exactly how to get it. I borrowed Carrie's old webcam and microphone setup. She used to stream makeup tutorials. I also borrowed a burner phone from a friend who worked at a pawn shop. Then I called David. I told him I'd made a mistake. I told him I was confused. I told him I missed home. There was a pause on the other end. Long, careful. Then he spoke. And his voice sent chills down my spine. You know I always want what's best for you, Melissa. Why don't we talk, just the two of us? Perfect. We agreed to meet the next night. At the house, while Mom was working a double shift. I arrived at 7 p.m., wearing a soft white sweater, jeans that hugged my hips, no makeup. I wanted to look vulnerable, familiar. But underneath my clothes, I had taped a tiny microphone to my bra, and turned on the live recording feed to my laptop in the car outside. I also left the bathroom door slightly open. Let's see how far the monster will go. David made dinner. Just like old times. Grilled salmon. Steamed asparagus. White wine. He was charming, even tender. Like he was trying to rebuild the illusion he'd created years ago. I played along. Smiled. Touched his hand once, like I was scared and reaching for comfort. I watched his eyes flicker. I've missed your energy around here, he said softly. It's not the same without you. I took a sip of wine, and let silence bloom between us. Then I looked up. Can we talk in private? Upstairs. He didn't even hesitate. We went to my old bedroom. Still untouched, like a museum exhibit of someone who never really left. I closed the door behind us slowly. Sat on the edge of the bed. Then I dropped my voice to a whisper. I'm scared, David. I don't know what's happening to me. I keep remembering the way you looked at me that night. In the bathroom. His jaw clenched just for a second. You misread that. I was just making sure you were safe. Were you? I asked, eyes locked on his. Because I've seen the videos. All of them. From the bathroom. From my cousin's visit. Even from when I was 17. His face didn't change. But his hand twitched. You've been watching me for years, haven't you? Silence. Then he sat beside me on the bed. Too close. I never meant to hurt you, he said. You're so beautiful, Melissa. You have no idea what it's like to be around you day after day, knowing I could never touch you. So you filmed me instead? I snapped. Violated me? And Mom? He winced at her name. That was never about her. You know that. There it was. I leaned back slightly, giving him space, watching, recording, calculating. So what was it about? I asked. He reached out and touched my hair. Fingers soft, slow, practiced. My stomach turned, but I didn't flinch. It was about being close. About seeing you the way I wasn't allowed to. I never forced anything. I just watched. That's not a crime, is it? Click. Confession. Caught. I stood up. And that's when the change happened. His face darkened. You're wearing a wire, aren't you? I froze. You think I didn't recognize that old laptop in the driveway? You think I don't know when someone's playing me? He lunged. I ran. Down the hallway. Toward the bathroom. It was instinct. The one room I'd always felt safest in, even now. He followed, footsteps thundering behind me. I slammed the bathroom door, but he shoved it open. We collided. Me trying to push him back, him grabbing my arms. His grip was tight, desperate. I gave you everything, he shouted. You were nothing when I came into your life. You think your real father would have loved you like I did. You don't know what love is. I screamed back. That's when the doorbell rang. Twice. Fast. Then again. David froze. Outside, a familiar voice yelled, Melissa, it's Carrie. You okay? Then pounding fists. He let go of me, stunned. I bolted past him, down the stairs, flung open the door. Carrie rushed in with a deputy right behind her. David stood at the top of the stairs. Silent. Then smiling. They arrested him that night. With the audio, the footage, and the camera from the vent, there was no more hiding. The detective told me later. He was grooming you, even as you fought back. My mother filed for divorce a week later. She couldn't even look at me when I came to pack the rest of my things. Just sobbed quietly in the kitchen as I took down old photos and threw them in a box. I'm sorry, she whispered. I thought he saved us. He almost did, I replied. Then he tried to own me. It's been almost a year. The trial made the news. Not because of me, but because of the number of victims they uncovered. He's facing 25 years. Sometimes I still feel like he's in the room, like the camera is still blinking somewhere. But then I remind myself, I turned the lens back on him. I made him the watched. I'm not just a survivor. I'm a witness. And I'll keep telling this story. Until no girl, no woman, no anyone ever feels like their body isn't theirs to protect.